If you love hurricanes, daiquiris, and, well, any rum cocktail, listen up. Captain Morgan's about to shake things up like never before. We're talking Bourbon Street, New Orleans, home to legendary drinks and unforgettable moments. But what if we told you the most iconic cocktails here have one thing in common? Hint, it's not bourbon. That's right, it's rum. And Captain Morgan is bringing unforgettable fun to Bourbon Street in a way you won't want to miss. Get ready for something big as we gear up for Super Bowl 59. Make sure to keep your eyes on NOLA's most iconic street. Who knows, Bourbon Street might just need a new name. Stay tuned for clues and get ready for the most legendary adventure yet. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spice Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, New York.
Reese on the radio.
There must be some mistake. You're black?
Annoying Negro since 1969.
Reese on the radio. Whack FM.
All right, ladies, buckle up. It's showtime.
Yeah! And what's going on, all you scallywags out there? You know what time it is. It is time for the world's most hated, and you know the words, the most racist online show in America. It's the Reese on the Radio Rundown with yours truly, Mr. Reese on the Radio. Let's get it on and poppin', ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. It is the eve of my wedding day to none other than Roseanne. I got so much stuff to talk about, folks, so I hope that you bear with me. You can go away, come back, and I'll still be chock full of stuff to talk about. It is a full day. I got some sad news today about someone I got the opportunity to see, meet, and interview in my lifetime, who is one of the pioneers of, well, I shouldn't say, yes, he is one of the founders of my favorite rap group of all time. Hello, Carl. Carl, I don't know if you knew this, but maybe you did, and maybe you sent it to me. I don't know whether or not you knew this, but, and I'll get right into it. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge this individual because, not that he changed my life in any way, but this is my favorite rap group of all time. And I reluctantly wanted no part of this group. With their first album, 3 Feet High and Rising, came out, I wanted no part of these hippies. I was listening to Run DMC and LL Cool J, and I wanted no part of De La Soul. I wanted no part of it. But then they dropped an album called De La Soul is Dead. I read a review that ripped on the album, and I heard it, and I fell in love. And they have always been a true inspiration. I bought every one of their albums. I even owned their box set at a time. And, wait, what's going on, Michael? And this is a sad story. Again, Trugoy the Dove passed away at age 54 yesterday. I'm just learning of it today. If you don't know De La Soul, here's a few ditties, some of my favorites, not right all-time favorites, but you'll recognize the music.
Greetings, girl, and welcome to my world of phrasing right up to that.
You know that one? That was from their Balloon Mind State album. And then there's this one from the title track to their third album and the best album they ever made, Stakes is High.
From the east with the beats that be thorough, got the solar gravitation, so I'm bound to pull it.
Now, the song that made them and put them on the top was the first single. No, I apologize. The second single from their debut album, 3 Feet High and Rising. You all know the song. It's about as popular as DJ Rob Bass, MC Rob Bass, and DJ Easy Rock's It Takes Two. But you all remember this one. Yeah, so De La Soul passed away. Trugoy the Dove passed away yesterday. Here's CBS News covering it in New York today.
Rapper Trugoy the Dove, a founding member of the Long Island hip-hop group De La Soul, has died. Born David Julie Kerr in Brooklyn, Trugoy grew up in Amityville, where he met the other two members of De La Soul. The group was part of the hip-hop tribute at the Grammy Awards last week, but Trugoy was not on stage with them. CBS News reports he'd been battling congestive heart failure, but the cause of death has not been revealed. He was 54 years old.
Now, the part about this that makes me angry is that they said it was congenital heart failure. And De La Soul was very, very, they were pro-statist, unfortunately. They became very liberal. Even though I loved their music, they were very liberal. And again, I know there's a lot of liberal people who I love. De La Soul being my favorite group of all time. And they were a little liberal. I strongly believe that he may have very well taken the vaccine. At 54, he was overweight. That's a fact. He was, as you can see in those photos, he's a little overweight. Yeah, but we lost him yesterday. And again, one of my favorite, I have to say, my favorite rap group of all time, second only to A Tribe Called Quest. And that right there, that's my childhood. The boy, he's my age. I'm 54 this year. This is the time where you're supposed to talk me off a ledge, everybody. Remember when George Michael died at 54 and old crazy ass me was going nuts? Like, God damn it! George Michael is dead? And everybody was like, chill, dude. I'm like, no! George Michael's in his 50s. He died at 55. I'm scared to death. They were like, yes, but you weren't addicted to heroin, Reese. Calm down. And I was like, okay, all right, good point. It's a very good point. It's a good point. I don't drink. I don't smoke. So I'm in March, I'll be 2 years without a drink. No, sorry, without a smoke. And in June, it'll be 4 years without a drink. 4 years. Come on, applaud me, damn it. Said, yeah, they find the proteins in spike protein in cancer is rapidly progressing to stage 4. Yeah. Will you be buying life insurance after the nuptials tomorrow, just in case? Yes, I will. That is already being taken care of. Roseanne has already made it clear. It's blood in or blood out. And she also threatened me that she will not. No one will be able to find the body. Yeah. So unfortunately, we lost we lost Trugoy. De La Soul, one of the greatest rap groups ever in the golden era of hip-hop. Anyway, I got...
If you love hurricanes, daiquiris, and, well, any rum cocktail, listen up. Captain Morgan's about to shake things up like never before. We're talking Bourbon Street, New Orleans, home to legendary drinks and unforgettable moments. But what if we told you the most iconic cocktails here have one thing in common? Hint, it's not bourbon. That's right, it's rum. And Captain Morgan is bringing unforgettable fun to Bourbon Street in a way you won't want to miss. Get ready for something big as we gear up for Super Bowl 59. Make sure to keep your eyes on NOLA's most iconic street. Who knows, Bourbon Street might just need a new name. Stay tuned for clues and get ready for the most legendary adventure yet. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spice Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, New York.
To get into so much other stuff, folks. Of course, we have to talk about the Super Bowl. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. White Mike says that Lemmy, that's right, Lemmy, he lived 75. He smoked 2 packs of Marlboro Reds a day, drank a fifth of Jack every day, and lived on fried meat and cheese. He could have lived to be 175 if he had cut all that out. Mike says my wife is an OG. Yeah, she is an OG. So, again, Kansas City Chiefs, congratulations to them for beating them god-awful Philadelphia Eagles. I got no love for Philadelphia. F them. I do want to talk about whatever the hell that was, what's her name? Rihanna was doing at the halftime show. I watched it because I didn't get to watch it real time, so I watched it on YouTube. Let's just call it what it is, folks. It was karaoke at the Lamaze class. Let's call it what it was. It was karaoke at the Lamaze class. With a pregnant ass up there singing, work, 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 work. 1 and 2 and work the Kegels. And 3, work, 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 work. And 4 and 5. And what was with the sperm count that was dancing on stage with her? That's all that was. A bunch of Negroes dressed in white dancing around. It was the sperm count. That's all that was. While she's wearing red. I get it. I read into it. Congratulations to Patrick Mahomes, another MVP trophy. Congratulations to him. That's right. Amy said at least she kept her clothes on. God damn, Amy, what's going on with Philly? You went to the World Series? Nothing. You go to the Super Bowl? Nothing. You better not go to the goddamn... The Philadelphia Flyers are going to the Stanley Cup Championship this year. How about the Philadelphia 76ers going to the NBA Finals? Damn! It's been quite a roller coaster. It has been. I don't blame you. But speaking of the Super Bowl, folks, with everything that came out there, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, let's talk about how they hated on Jesus. They hated on Jesus. Folks, how do you hate on Jesus? We'll talk about that. But if you think... Yes, John Beck is Rihanna married to Sam Smith. Let me tell you something. You know who could not be outdone about the football analyst? You know who would not be outdone on analyzing football? Those morons over at The View. Those idiots over at The View. While I'm telling this story, before I play the video, just start hitting up the chat room right now of some people. I don't care if you duplicate what other people write, but let me ask you a question. Start filling them up right now. Give me some names of successful black quarterbacks, current or old school. Successful black quarterbacks. I can go back to Warren Moon. I wasn't a Doug Williams fan, but whatever. If you want to mention him, mention him. Donovan McNabb. You can remember a whole bunch of successful black quarterbacks. I can name some bums too. But we're talking about black quarterbacks who led their team successfully. Did they get to the Super Bowl? Not all the time. But they definitely played well enough to get their teams to the playoffs. Look at Lamar Jackson. An exciting player. Michael Vick. Exciting player. I'm never going to stop talking about Steve McNair. Love that guy. Hated that team. But I love that guy. I mean, if what's his name? Byron Leftwich, he was the quarterback coach for Tom Brady 2 years ago when Brady won the what's the name? Won the Super Bowl. Russell Wilson. That's right. Until his performance, that's right. Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. Black quarterback led a team to the Super Bowl. I think it's the first one since Doug Williams of the Washington Redskins. Well, that was their name then, so get over it, Commanders. And I'm calling them Commander. But that's right, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. With all of that, listen to these effing pieces of dumb over at The View.
I don't know.
The only thing that would have made it better for me is, finally we know that black quarterbacks can lead teams. And are smart enough to lead teams.
Finally? Can you believe this Sonny Houston moron said that?
The only thing that would have made it better for me is, finally we know that black quarterbacks can lead teams. And are smart enough to lead teams. I would like to see.
I always knew that. That was never a question. We knew that. But, it takes people a minute to catch up.
How about?
You mean like every other coach in the goddamn league, stupid? Who's ever had a black quarterback? Donovan McNabb went to a Super Bowl, stupid. It is Donovan McNabb who's responsible for Terrell Owens getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. A lot of people don't know this. People keep saying, why is Terrell Owens in the Hall of Fame? Aside from the fact he was one of the greatest wide receivers in the game. Aside from that. But the game that the Philadelphia Eagles lost to the New England Patriots, Terrell Owens had the best stats of the whole game, of any player on the game. 9 catches for 122 yards. An NFL record. 9 catches for 122 yards. And who threw the ball to him? None other than Donovan McNabb. Terrell Owens doesn't get the ball just by freaking the ball doesn't just end up in his hand. It's got to be thrown. Donovan McNabb actually was playing a pretty good game. He just got the jitters like he did in Syracuse. Oh, bum ass. I couldn't believe it. Joe Gilliam, that's right, was the backup to Bradshaw back in his day. Yes, exactly. I couldn't believe this.
Some black owners.
They said, look at her face. We need some black owners. We need some black owners. Tell some black people to get some money up. There's some teams out there that are waiting to get the Redskins or the Commanders, whatever they are. I hear they're going up for sale. Dan Snyder's going to put them up. Tell them Negroes to get their money up. I'm sure there's a couple of billionaires out there. Isn't Jay-Z one of them? He likes to put in 1% into a team. What's he got, 1% in the Brooklyn Nets? and then runs around acting like he owns them. You got 1%, Negro. It's like going to the concession stand and buying water. You ain't got no stake in all this.
If you love hurricanes, daiquiris, and, well, any rum cocktail, listen up. Captain Morgan's about to shake things up like never before. We're talking Bourbon Street, New Orleans, home to legendary drinks and unforgettable moments. But what if we told you the most iconic cocktails here have one thing in common? Hint, it's not bourbon. That's right, it's rum. And Captain Morgan is bringing unforgettable fun to Bourbon Street in a way you won't want to miss. Get ready for something big as we gear up for Super Bowl 59. Make sure to keep your eyes on NOLA's most iconic street. Who knows, Bourbon Street might just need a new name. Stay tuned for clues and get ready for the most legendary adventure yet. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spice Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company, New York, New York.
These foolish, foolish Negroes. Finally, they say. Shows how stupid they are. That's right, the Lions. That's right, you should. Yeah, that's right, buy the Lions. But who wants to be in Detroit? No offense, Detroit. Lord knows I don't. Hey, by the way, I want to get into this, folks. I have to do this one more time. Folks, I won't even play the applause. I'm just going to applaud myself, and I'm going to pat myself on the back. It was I, folks, who told you, that Anna Luna had a target on her back. I told you that Anna Luna had a target on her back, and people were gunning for her. And you remember when I said it. This was the time she caught Joel Roth. Everyone's talking about this. Joel Roth over at Twitter, where she busted him for this thing.
Mr. Roth, have you communicated with government officials ever on a platform called Jira? Yes or no? Real quick answer. We're on the clock.
Not
yes
to
or
the
no?
best of my recollection.
Not to your recollection? Great. If you did, in the event, communicate, who would have had access to this platform?
That's the nature of my confusion.
Okay.
Jira
Did you ever speak to government officials on Jira regarding taking down social media posts?
Again, not to the best of my recollection.
Can you?
Well, of course, you know how that ended up. She ended up catching him in a lie. She had him on the cloud service Jira talking to federal agents about subverting somebody's First Amendment rights. She had him dead to rights. So then the Washington Post put a hit piece out on her. The making of Anna Paulina Luna, an Air Force veteran now serving as Florida Congresswoman. And in the Washington Post piece, they start to make her out to be like a George Santos. They're saying that she lied about her history, about her past. She's not Jewish. Her father was not incarcerated. She didn't come from a humble background. They wrote all of these articles. They even called her mother. But the objective was to destroy her because she made Joel Roth. Remember, no one's even heard of this woman until she starts interrogating Joel Roth at the Oversight Committee. And Washington Post does a hit job. Well, unfortunately for the Washington Post, that has backfired. You can't call me now. I'm on the middle of this. These people, they call me. I got it. You got to give me a second here. Okay. I'm in the middle of a talking point. Can you hold? All right. Now, here's Anna Luna on Jesse Waters' show talking about the Washington Post article.
Who are trying to mock Congresswoman Luna for changing her last name are the same ones who for 6 years told you Liz Warren was a Native American. Now here she is for herself. Florida's representative for the 13th District, Anna Paulina Luna. Congresswoman, great to have you on the program tonight. As I mentioned, the Washington Post has already issued one correction regarding you being previously registered as a Democrat. What else did they get wrong?
Well, they did start out with saying that I basically made up the fact that my father never went to jail. And as you saw with the records that we sent to Fox News, that's completely false. You know, my story, growing up within the welfare system, going to over 6 high schools, that's not something that the Washington Post wants to tell the truth about. They also proceeded to leave out an entire interview with a roommate that I had that debunked a bizarre claim made by someone that was apparently stationed with me that claimed that I owned a firearm during this break-in. So the fact is that we have these receipts. My attorneys already issued a letter of correction. Washington Post didn't respond to a response from Fox Digital, nor did any of the other people that made these bizarre allegations. And we will be issuing these letters to correct to Vanity Fair, and a few other major outlets decided to run with this story before they corrected the facts. I will say that People magazine did reach out, and they wanted to wait to see this episode before they ran the story. So I'll be interviewing with them after. But it's awful how they treat minorities. And the fact is that their undertone of their article was incredibly racist. They tried to undercut my Hispanic heritage. They even spoke to my mother and didn't report a lot of what she was posting. So the Washington Post is compost, and they should do better.
Why do you think, Congresswoman, that you were their target?
I think that my story is something that they didn't want to believe is true. Again, I grew up within the welfare system. I went to over 6 high schools. My parents were never married. And I also think one of the craziest claims that they're trying to say is that I wasn't raised as a Messianic Jew. You know, I have documentation and photos of my father at synagogue. My mother confirmed this to the Washington Post. But again, they don't want people like me to have credibility. And so what they try to do is attack the reputation. Mind you, this is also a few days after, though, I went after Yoel Roth and Twitter for exposing them as being joint state actors. And so I am on congressional oversight. I do believe that they're trying to, again, attack my credibility, and I'm not going to let them get away with this. The American people deserve honest representation. I'm exactly that, and I have the receipts to prove it.
Told you. Told you. Washington Post is upset about what she did to Joel Roth. She literally dragged her. Everybody knows Joel Roth and Vijaya Gotti and James Baker. They know that they're going to be charged criminally in subverting people. I mean, what they did was a criminal act. They aided and abetted the federal government to subvert people's First Amendment rights. It goes without question, and she caught them dead to rights. So of course the Washington Post want to do everything they can to destroy her. And she's right. They don't like her story. She's everything that's not supposed to be a conservative. She's not supposed to be a Republican. Welfare system, poor, Jewish, Latina, conservative? Hell no. We got to put a stop to this. Next thing you know, other black and Latina Democrats think that they can be Republicans. We got to put a stop to that. Let them know that we'll destroy you if you think differently.
Yeah, many people saw that interaction with Yoel Roth this week from Twitter. You brought up race. I would love to ask you this one last question. You know, your situation with the Washington Post here reminds me of the story, again, with the Washington Post from a few years ago when it came to South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. It seemed to question Scott's story and by implication whether or not he was authentically black or had an authentically black experience in America.
Told you that's how they get down. He ain't really black. He probably likes tuna casserole. I bet you that Negro ain't never had fried chicken. That's how that's what they think. That's what they do. He doesn't want to be a part of it in any state. So there you go. So she got him back. Congratulations to Anna Luna. Carl said she's hot. What's her number? She's married. Carl, I'm sorry. Okay, you got to turn me down. Sorry. Hey, who's on the line? Who do we got here? Oh, okay. Well, I gotta move on, but I'll call him back. Anyway, let me move on. What's next up? Oh, I know what's up. I totally forgot this. Why would I forget this? I don't know why I would forget this. What is wrong with me? I was supposed to. Folks, forgive me. I had this all prepared. And Yeah, there it is. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Here it is. Because we have to talk about the new story now. What do you call it? This story now with the balloons. I don't know if you heard this. Yeah, if you haven't heard this, folks, let me help you.
But really briefly, can you speak to rumors that there is another Chinese balloon above Alaska or any other parts of U.S. territory that the U.S. shot down?
So I can confirm that the Department of Defense was tracking a high-altitude object over Alaska airspace in the last 24 hours. The object was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. Out of an abundance of caution and at the recommendation of the Pentagon, President Biden ordered the military to down the object. And they did, and it came inside our territorial waters. Those waters right now are frozen, but inside territorial airspace and over territorial waters. Fighter aircraft assigned to U.S. Northern Command took down the object within the last hour.
So they took down the object within the last hour, and I'll get to the calls in a second. But this is the reason why all of this is so important. Karine Jean-Pierre addressed this during the press briefing today.
I just wanted to make sure we address this from the White House. I know there have been questions and concerns about this, but there is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity with these recent takedowns. Again, there is no indication of aliens or terrestrial activity with these recent takedowns. Wanted to make sure that the American people knew that, all of you knew that, and it was important for us to say that from here because we've been hearing a lot about it.
The reason why you've been hearing about it, Cringe, is because of your own stupid frickin' Pentagon. No one jumped out of nowhere suggesting that these were UFOs on their own. You started off by calling them unidentified flying objects. The Pentagon said that. We're asking, hey, you shot down some other things that were flying over? Was it another Chinese balloon? We don't know, you said. You refused to tell us what it was. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because the first time around, you got embarrassed. You got your lunch handed to you. You look like a bunch of amateurs. There were no adults in the room. We know that. And the reason why you're so tight-lipped now is because China turned around and said, oh, you want to shoot down my balloon? Here's 3 more. And you don't want to tell anybody that it's another Chinese balloon. You don't want to tell anybody that you're immediately reacting at an abundance of caution because the last time you just let the balloons fly all over everywhere when you told everybody to calm down. Not a big deal. Remember? Remember that? That's what that was about. All right, everybody is calling on the phone. You got to give me a second here. Okay? Just give me a second. I'm going to take phone calls in a minute. Gosh, they're calling like crazy. All right, hold up. But, again, she's telling everybody, don't worry. And she's being all cavalier. Listen to this.
I'm not.
Would you tell us?
I'm just, I loved E.T., the movie, but I'm just going to leave it there.
Yeah, I loved E.T. Well, the other reporters are laughing. Real reporters are asking real questions. Yeah, it's all fun and games, Mr. Kirby. But there's a reason why we're asking if it's an extraterrestrial. Because your administration said so. James Rosen.
My understanding is that the top officials at the Pentagon, when asked explicitly if they were ruling out any kind of extraterrestrial presence, said they weren't ruling anything out. And yet at the beginning of today's briefing, albeit with her usual winning smile, Ms. Jean-Pierre seemed to rule out any extraterrestrial activity.
I don't think the American people need to worry about aliens with respect to these craft. Period. I don't think there's any more that needs to be said there.
Yeah, that's right. There's nothing else needs to be said. But remember, that's because when we asked, are you ruling out that it was an extraterrestrial? They said we're not ruling anything out. By not clarifying, and by always throwing some sort of blanket over everything, you end up making yourself look like a clown. All right, we're going to take Fritz off hold. I'm assuming He's there. Fritz, can you hear me? Okay, maybe he hung up. I had him on hold. Okay. All right. Well, if he's on hold, maybe you'll come. There he is. There he is. All right. Fritz, what's going on, big guy?
Man, your topics are all over the place today.
Well, no, I'm literally going from topic to topic to topic because I got so much stuff to cover. What did you want to come in? I'm assuming you wanted to cover and come in on something. What did you want to come in on?
I wanted to put a shout out for Shock G. He was my favorite.
Yeah, man. Shock G. His passing stunned me too.
When I was a kid and I was a DJ, Shock G, he was all about making everything work, and it was funny and awesome. And I hope you like Shock G.
I did. I love Shock G.
Hip hop.
I got the opportunity, Shock G, if not for a Digital Underground, and my humble beginnings as a dancer on Club MTV with Downtown Julie Brown, if you're old enough to remember that. That was the first.
I'm 44, Reese. I'm 44.
Oh, okay. That was the first and only time I met Tupac. That was the first and only time I got to meet Tupac. He was a backup dancer for Digital Underground.
He was.
That's right. And he is.
He was a backup dancer.
That's right. And he is right. He rapped afterwards, but he is the background. He was the backup dancer and backup singer for the Humpty Dance, and you can see him in the music video. That's Tupac's first appearance ever on a music video. And when they came to Club MTV, when the Humpty Dance was so huge, they were on stage at the Palladium in New York City. That was the first time I ever met Tupac, because of course the dancers and everybody else would meet the celebrities because they lip synced on stage. If you don't know that, when the acts would come out and do the musical performance, they would lip sync, and we got this. But actually, there's a very funny story behind this, Fritz, with Shock G. Let me tell you.
Awesome. Tell everybody about it.
The Shock G was on stage, and during the Humpty Dance, he takes a handful of glitter and he throws it out onto the dance floor below us. And we were dancing, and the shoes that I was wearing were too slippery for the parquet floor. And I had done this pirouette somersault split for the camera, and the camera caught me as I was coming down into this split, and I slid right underneath the stage under Digital Underground, and it's caught on camera. No yeah, I used to hate on because he was dressed as Humpty Hump in that, at that time. But Shock G, of course, was Humpty Hump.
Did it too. Like even white dudes did it. They all put on the gear and did the Humpty Hump.
Yeah, they would all. Yeah, if Shock G had to be present at something, they would have another guy who would come in and play the role.
But you actually were involved in the videos. That's totally cool.
I was involved in Downtown Julie Brown's Club MTV, their performance live, and that's what I got to. Yeah, I got to meet them there.
In the 80s.
But Shock G passing away. Awesome. Is it echoing? Oh, there's probably a reason for that. I'll tell you why.
Somebody walked into the room. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
So what? I mean, I know topics are rolling everywhere. I mean, what do you think about this whole balloon situation? Do you think we're capital F'd, or do you think that? Do you think we're the United States got intel off of it because it floated over the country, or do you think that we should have shot the thing down and now Biden shoots them all down?
I'm
just curious. What you think?
I don't think that Biden has the intent to do anything. I think he's going to be caught flat-footed on all of this.
Me too.
And I think, I don't know how far China's going to go. I'll tell you this, though. I'm more concerned about what they're going to do than I am concerned about Biden's reaction. That's what I'm concerned with, honest to goodness.
I think Biden's got no strength behind him anymore. I think he's done.
I agree.
But listen, Reese, congratulations on tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
I wish I could be there, but I can't because
I appreciate
I think you're out of state or whatever, but I would love to be there. But that's awesome. And big round of applause for Reese on the radio getting married tomorrow.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Thank you, boss.
Thanks for having me on, dude. Thanks, man.
I appreciate it. All right, thank you, Fritz. Fritz was eager to get on the show today. Fritz was like, get me on the damn show. Anyway, yeah, thank you, Carl. Yes, my mic was echoing. I could hear that. I was trying to fix that at the same time. Okay, so moving on. Let's go to, Corinne Jean-Pierre. That's, folks, back to the Corinne Jean-Pierre thing. If you have no confidence in Corinne Jean-Pierre, this may be the piece that seals her fate. I don't understand how she's not out of office or out of this position yet and just making Kirby the guy. That may be happening soon. But look at Corinne Jean-Pierre on television trying to explain what NORAD is, the system that tracks flying objects into our airspace.
Why is the American military shooting something out of the sky over Canada?
Because it's part of NORAD. There is the NORAD is part of like it's a what you call a coalition, a consortium,
a pact of nations.
A pact,
Okay.
Exactly. And so that's why we were able to do that. Again, we didn't do it on our own. We did it clearly in step with Canada.
Did you hear what she said? She said we did it in step with the other country above Canada called Canada.
Step with Canada.
I'm like, yes, Corinne Jean-Pierre, Canada. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Corinne Jean-Pierre's. Where you from? Corinne, name the country that is just above the United States. Is it A, Canada? Is it B, Alaska? Or is it C, Canada? We'll give you an opportunity to think about it, and we'll get back to you after these messages on Is This Bitch Buggin'? Canada. Oh my God. She's got to be the dumbest person in the world. Anyway, moving on. Folks, if you're conservative, I did not know this. You're brainwashed. Now, I've talked about this before because I find this striking. We, conservatives, are brainwashed. We believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We believe that people should be able to protect themselves and have a right to bear arms in order to do so, right? They believe they should have a representative government that actually votes on things that matter to them. We believe in smaller government so that more people have more freedom to do what they wish, to explore their God-given talents and to be the best that they can be, the freest that they can be. No matter what you believe, you should be able to say what you think. And the truth should not be controversial. Those people think we are in a cult, while they say that there's no such thing as mothers and fathers. There are birthing people and parental figures. That biological men can go into biological women's prisons, bathrooms, and sporting events. That a man can wake up tomorrow and think he's a woman, and he is automatically a woman without preconditions. Just full stop. That's it. You can't question this idea at all, or you'd be damned. You can't question authority, the deep state, government, your elections, the media. And we're the brainwashed ones, folks. Think about that. They are so delusional, they think they're not brainwashed. But, I meant to say, and we need to be deprogrammed. You might remember Katie Couric saying this on Bill Maher's show.
How AWOL so many of these members of Congress have gotten. But I also think some of them are believing the garbage that they are being fed 24/7 on the internet by their constituents, and they bought into this big lie. And the question is, how are we going to really almost deprogram these people who have signed up for the cult of Trump?
Yeah. Deprogram them. They want to deprogram free thinkers, critical thinkers. That needs deprogramming. Think about all of that. Here's Jonathan Capehart.
There are millions of Americans, almost all white, almost all Republicans, who somehow need to be deprogrammed. It's as if they are members of a cult.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not Jonathan Capehart. Capehart is the younger guy. I forgot who this guy's name is. But yeah, but everybody's a part of a cult that needs to be deprogrammed. This is insanity. So I found this. This struck me as odd. So there's a podcast that I'm going to be checking out. And I'm going to do my best to call in. I hope this woman takes phone calls. So on her podcast, here's what she does. This is her podcast. Her name is Juliet Genke. Yeah, Juliet Genke. What she does is she watches Fox News. But remember, folks, she's better than all of us. Even though she watches Fox News, she does not get mesmerized and brainwashed by it. She hosts a show called Decoding Fox News. Decoding Fox News. So she watches Fox News so you don't have to. And then she breaks down their lies and disinformation and their cultism. And she's got a mission. The mission of her podcast is to help struggling millennials and Gen Xers or Zers or whoever it is, and to get them away from their evil, brainwashed folks who watch Fox News. Listen to this woman on MSNBC. Listen to this.
Juliet, a lot happened in politics, specifically in the Fox world, State of the Union. What was your biggest takeaway this week?
Well, they completely rewrote history with the State of the Union address. They said that Biden was a bumbling idiot and couldn't get through his speech, and that he was, like you said, lying.
Okay. Not seeing where your problem is here.
About more than one Republican lawmaker wanting to cut or alter Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare.
Which is actually true. Now, again, that's a very good point that she makes here. She's saying that Fox News is lying when they say that only one Republican wrote a law wanting to attack Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. They're saying that that's not true. It wasn't just one Republican. Listen real close to the next line.
But let's just stay on that, because Fox continues to say that Biden's comments about these Republicans wanting to cut Social Security, that's been debunked. But it hasn't been debunked. I mean, for fact's sake, yesterday, the president himself went down to Florida and word for word read from Rick Scott's plan.
I'm sorry, what? It's Rick Scott's plan, which is exactly what everyone was talking about. One guy wrote the plan. Notice she didn't mention anything else. If you missed it, liberals, let's go back to what this idiot said.
Said lying about more than one Republican lawmaker wanting to cut or alter Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare.
More than one.
Let's just stay on that because
More than one wanted to cut Social Security and Medicare. And don't forget Social Security there, dum-dum. That Fox News was lying about it. And then they go into Joe Biden on the stump talking about the bill. Who does she mention? She says it's not been debunked. What hasn't been debunked? That Rick Scott wrote it? Rick Scott wrote the plan. It's been debunked that anybody other than Rick Scott wrote the plan. We all know Rick Scott wrote the plan.
Fox continues to say that Biden's comments about these Republicans wanting to cut Social Security, that's been debunked.
And it was. Live on the floor when they shouted him down saying that we have union, that we all agree. We have unanimity, is what Joe Biden said. She saw it. We all saw it.
But it hasn't been debunked. I mean, for fact's sake, yesterday, the president himself went down to Florida and word for word read from Rick Scott's plan. So explain to me how they keep pushing these lies to their audience. A, did they not have a legal and standards department? And
honey, you might want to check with yours. You might want to check with your legal and standards department.
B, like, what gives? Their audience is just going to believe this?
Yeah. And they're kicking your pants in the ratings, too.
Yeah, they have absolutely no shame. They'll say whatever they think they need to say to promote their agenda. And mostly lying through omission, like leaving out stories completely.
You mean like you just did?
The best I got this week was, I believe it was Judge Janine said, one senator. And she
Yeah, we just mentioned him, Rick Scott.
said it, like that. Like one senator said he wanted to cut that, but he didn't mean it. Basically,
I'm paraphrasing. Listen to what she said. She doesn't even quote Janine properly.
He said it, like that. Like one senator said he wanted to cut that, but he didn't mean it. Basically, I'm paraphrasing.
So the work that you're doing is obviously interesting to someone like me and my audience. But that Fox News audience, that right-wing audience, is that who you're trying to get to?
I'm trying to get to the friends, families, coworkers, and colleagues of people who are already deeply entrenched in Fox. Number one, to prevent them from getting sucked in, to help them navigate dealing with somebody who's kind of in that cult mentality, because I would call it a cult, and to help them sort of figure out why their relatives and loved ones are saying these things. And deprogramming someone or de-radicalizing them is a very difficult and long situation to go through. It's
deprogramming. Yes. They want to put you in the education camps. They wish to put you there. You'll get your mind right. I'm sure of it. It always reminds me of that Orwell scene. How many fingers do you see? 4. If the state tells you that you see 5, how many do you see? 4, 5. I don't know what to say.
slow. It's very, very hard. But one way that you can do it is if you know that your friend is being completely manipulated and lied to, that is one step to breaking through to them.
Yeah, so I'm going to check out her podcast. According to these menses, Rick Scott is now they. That's right, his pronouns are they and them. That's a good one. That is really a good one. Okay, this is my favorite part of the day, folks. I'm sorry. It's Black History Month. And trust me, we're going long because I got too much stuff. And I'm not going to be here tomorrow. So we're going to hang out for a little while if you don't mind. Thank you for sticking around. But I got to go into this. Black History Month is this month. And folks, if you've been paying attention, people they've been over their skis. They've been jumping out of windows. They want too bad to make sure that they are as woke as they can get. We're going to find every way to make sure we celebrate Black history. Anything that we could do, we'll go above and beyond. You know what? Black people got a problem with the police department. You know what we should do? We should show some solidarity at the police department.
Finally, here at 4:30, in honor of Black History Month, Miami Police unveiling a brand new Black History police car as the mayor and police chief join forces, all to remember and honor history.
Yes, a Black History police car. For the month of February, no Negroes will go to jail. We'll simply drive by the crime, make sure that they take a picture in front of the truck, and post it on their social media. Maybe in the middle of robbing somebody or having a gang shootout, we'll drive by and get the gangbangers to sit in front and take a selfie. Because we're doing the most good here at the Miami Police Department with our African-American patrol car. Only whiteys ride in the back, because of oppression. But you know what? That's not enough. It's not enough to have a black police car. That's not enough. It's not enough to come out with Wakanda Forever a month in advance. No! We've got to do more. How else can we get these Negroes to understand that we love them, we care about them, and we care about their history? The best way to a person's heart, well, that's his belly. It's definitely his belly.
Sixth grader Honor Santiago says the cultural insensitivity on display for lunch on the first day of Black History Month was palpable.
They were asking people if they wanted watermelon, and I was very confused because watermelon isn't really in the season.
Watermelon plus chicken and waffles. That's what Nyack school district leaders say its food service provider offered students.
I didn't really think my school or the company was capable of doing that and just making the kids feel bad.
But it did.
The chicken and waffles and watermelon is a stereotype.
According to the school district, an outside vendor, Aramark, planned to serve Philly cheesesteaks as seen on this February menu.
Now, I got to stop him right there. Before they did the chicken and watermelons, they were going to serve them Philly cheesesteaks. I find that more offensive. Serving them food from Philly? A Philly cheesesteak? Jesus! You freaking bigots! Just feed them ham hocks, for crying out loud. How much more punishment do you want these black people to have? Philly cheesesteaks? I'm further offended by that. But you know what? That's not enough, folks. We got a African-American police car. We got chicken and waffles. I don't know, folks. In order to end racism, we got to start young. That's what the problem is. We got to get them right at the preschool age and start teaching them about black history. Yeah, that'll change the world.
This is the daycare where those pictures were taken about a week ago. And in speaking to those parents, they say that they were deeply hurt and troubled when they saw those images. And they say that they spoke to the teacher who told them it was a misunderstanding, but they say that that was no excuse. Nick and Courtney Politis were getting ready for their daughter's first birthday party a week ago when they got a call from a fellow Studio Kids daycare parent.
Calls me and she's like, "You won't believe the photos that were sent to me from this classroom."
It was true. They did not believe these pictures.
She told me they painted all the kids' face black and said Happy Black History Month. I couldn't believe it. My brain was malfunctioning.
Pictures that were shared on the school's messaging app showed preschoolers in blackface.
I was angry that somehow that, fell through the crack. And like I said, I wasn't sure how this came about. And
Yes, that's right. A preschool painted the little white kid in blackface for Black History Month. There There isn't anything they won't do, people. Yeah. Take that, white man. We're celebrating Black History hardcore here, damn it. Hardcore. Put your kids in blackface. That'll learn them. Free Rodney King, or what is it? Who's the person we're screaming about now? All Black Lives Matter. That's it. Here's some more of this story.
Who decided to do this, but it seemed like it was multiple failures on the school's part.
When I sent it to the owner director, it was like, I'm sorry, with a question mark. I don't understand what's racist. We don't use those words. Was her response to me. And the first response is the real response.
The couple says they met with the daycare's owner on Monday and have since pulled their children, who are biracial, out of the private Miami daycare. Courtney says she had to take care of the kids at home this week.
But for it to be my child that has to be disappointed and has to change his routine, it broke my heart. How are we going to pull our kids mid-semester from school? We have to go to work. So it's really just figuring out what's the escape plan to get out of here, because what else are you teaching your children behind closed doors?
What are they teaching your kids behind closed doors? I've got a few ideas. If they're putting them in blackface, perhaps they're feeding them chicken and watermelon. Yeah, baby! All parts of a well-balanced meal, I might add. Maybe they got some purple drink. Hey, did you notice that? Why didn't nobody say anything? Why is it that I am the only person who noticed this? Did you see the Black Panther movies? If you saw the Black Panther movie, if you saw Wakanda Forever or Wakanda Whack Forever, did you watch that movie? Why did they choose? Ryan Coogler is the director of this film. Why? Whose idea was it to have the one drink that the Black Panther has to drink in order to get the power? Why did it have to be purple? Why did it have to be purple drink? Why? Whose idea was that? We couldn't think of anything else? Why it have to be purple drink? Like, know the audience, yo. We all thought, every person I said that to, I was like, yo, did you notice they was having purple drink? I was like, word. That was my favorite part. I was like, yeah, you notice it was purple drink. It was like, word up. Carl said he'll still eat the chicken. Of course he will. Of course he will. Carl said, F the watermelon. I want the chicken, and I'll take the purple drink. Not me, damn it. All right. Anyway, last but not least, before we get up out of here. Do I still have more? I got so much more to get into. But I guess, yeah, this will be the last one before I get out of here because I have a lot of stuff to get into. Of course, my wedding is tomorrow. Check this out. Listen to this real quick. 2020 election. News media all across the country doing articles about a group called Hamilton 68. Hamilton 68 is right now, in this case, they're the wholesale providers of information related to Russian bots and Russian disinformation. Now, when I say that these people are like the authority, they are the authority. Let me give you a little background into the people who are in Hamilton 68. Just to give you an idea of how serious this is. Hamilton 68 has Michael Chertoff, the former Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security under George W. Bush. Michael McFaul, the ambassador to Russia under Barack Obama. The ambassador to Russia. Thomas Hendrick, the president of Estonia, former president of Estonia. Bill Kristol, former chief of staff to Dan Quayle under Herbert Walker Bush's regime. And Jake Sullivan, who is the current National Security Advisor. All 5 of these men are in charge of Hamilton 68, a group that developed a list of 600 Twitter operators who they said to the news media were pushing Russian disinformation on social media. They started in 2017. The objective was to say the stuff that you saw that was growing on social media, hashtags and things like that, like release the memo, they were all fake, and this was all Russian propaganda. Here was the media talking about Hamilton 68 as a reliable source.
Twitter tracking tool that's called Hamilton 68. They're now reporting that Twitter accounts linked to Russian influence operations, well, they've been upping the frequency with which they're promoting this hashtag, release the memos.
There's a dashboard, Hamilton 68, named after the Federalist paper, Alexander Hamilton's Federalist paper, which focused on election meddling and protecting the process, which focuses on Twitter feeds and has determined that Russia was indeed, or sites alleged to be connected with Russia, were interfering in the Alabama election.
Russian-linked Twitter accounts tried using the tragedy to stoke the nation's political divides. Kremlin-linked accounts flooded Twitter, using hashtags like Parkland and Gun Control Now to get into trending conversations. According to data collected by the nonpartisan dashboard Hamilton 68.
The bad news is the Russians are continuing to attack our democracy.
But they are every day playing on social media. There's a website called Hamilton 68 that measures some of it on Twitter, and they're trying to divide Americans on race, on guns. A website called Hamilton 68 has been tracking this behavior for months, and they do kind of tend to tweet about various controversial issues, including NFL protests.
That Russia was actively still working to meddle with our democracy. We've seen what the bots have been doing, according to the Hamilton Project. You were working on writing on that yesterday.
And it tracks around 600 Russia-linked accounts, and it doesn't provide the names of those accounts, because if it did, the Russians could simply change them.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
There's a Russian troll farm. There's a group in the United States that tracks what they do, and you know what their leading hashtag is this week out of the Russian troll farm?
What?
Release the memo.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, we have heard that. And so when the State Department says, well, it's already working, you know, we don't need additional sanctions. It's already working. They've gotten the message.
All they've got to do is go to Hamilton 68 and see that they're trolling us right today.
So here it is. The news media is suggesting to all of us that Hamilton 68, the good stewards, the bipartisan group, they're tracking these Russian bots. That all of this stuff you're seeing on social media, it's all phony. You're being manipulated by Russia. You hear them, right? Let's go a little further. Here's some serious condemnation on CNN with Allison Camerata. Everybody nodding their head like a bunch of trolls. Right? Oh, yeah, yeah.
There is actual fake news. It's weaponized by Russia. Right? I mean, you had this where they're created. I mean, fake stories out of the blue used to influence people and their thoughts and create division, that kind of thing. That's
used to influence people in their thoughts, these Russian bots.
The real fake news.
Yeah. Over the weekend, Hamilton 68, a project that tracks Russian bots, found a dramatic increase in Russian bots using the hashtags surrounding that debate, trying to elevate the debate on Ingram's side overwhelmingly.
Right. Yeah, on Ingram's side, so that nothing organically has happened. It's the Russians. Nothing is really happening. Don't believe your lying eyes. None of this stuff is real.
That itself is fascinating if folks want to see the extent to which these tweets are being
weaponized. And the
weaponized.
Russian bots seize on these things. Whenever they sense division in the country, they seize on it and gin it up.
Again, you hear that, right? They're saying the bots are seasoned on that. None of this is organic. These are not real people who are having this conversation. You're being manipulated. Well, not so fast there, CNN and MSNBC, or NBC for that matter.
So in the early Trump years, there was an organization called Hamilton 68 that was the source of probably hundreds of news stories over the course of a period of years that was allegedly tracking Russian bots. Their secret sauce was a list of 600 accounts they said were linked to Russian influence. Well, in the Twitter files, we found the list. And the list, let's just say, is mostly bereft of Russians. but is full of real Americans. And what they basically did is a fraud. They took ordinary conversations of ordinary conservatives mostly, and essentially just called it Russian influenced.
I say again, folks, this was your news media telling you that the Russian bots were fake news, when indeed they were. And who are the individuals involved? Michael Chertoff, former Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security under George W. Bush. Michael McFaul, Ambassador to Russia under Barack Obama. Thomas Hendrick, former President of Estonia. Bill Kristol, former Chief of Staff for Dan Quayle, also a Trump hater. And Jake Sullivan, the current National Security Advisor under Joe Biden. He was doing this work in 2017, lying about actual people and having media stories done about actual people and having them called Russian bots. And for his service, he got National Security Advisor under the Biden administration. Here's some more Matt Taibbi.
The Hamilton 68 is a fraud. Hamilton 68 out to stop Russian influence was actually out there to stop conservatives, stop pro-Trump trending, stop pro-Trump popularity, whether it was Charlie Kirk on down, which you had reported earlier. But this 68 had an interesting way of doing things. They would take a trend, credit it to a Russian bot, and diminish its quality. But it wasn't just Twitter users. Then other entities, New York Times, Mother Jones, would go and build off this. So next thing you know, this would be pervasive all over mainstream media. Can you unwind that?
Yeah, so the key here is that they built this tool called the Hamilton 68 dashboard that purported to track Russian bots. Again, it was based on 644 accounts, which we now know are mostly organic accounts, mostly real people, mostly in the West. But they would say these accounts are now following, let's just say, the hashtag Fire McMaster, or hashtag Release the Memo, or hashtag I Stand with Laura, or hashtag Parkland Shooting. And then you would see a flood of news stories come out in the next day, maybe in the New York Times, maybe the Washington Post, maybe CNN, maybe MSNBC, that would say Russian bots are supporting this hashtag. In reality, there were no Russians, or there were very few Russians, let's put it that way. Most of these were actual real Americans who were just doing ordinary conversations on Twitter.
So Mike Morrell, let's look at those four again. Mike McFaul, ambassador to Russia, certainly has credibility. Mike Morrell used to brief Bush as well as Barack Obama, CIA guy. And then a Podesta, as left-wing as it gets, was supposed to be the chief of staff of Hillary Clinton, ran her campaign. And Clint Watts, an MSNBC contributor. So he could continue this false reporting as so-called experts in Russian bots on another news network.
It's insanity. None of it is real. It's all fake. It's all phony. All of it. It's insane. How we doing, Jeff? Our good friend Gene Pinkham in the building. I know you're loving that Arizona heat, my friend. Yeah, Bill Kristol does suck. John Beckman says, hello, Jeff, by the way. John Beckman says, congratulations on your nuptials tomorrow, Reese. Rosie sounds like a lovely gal, and I'm very glad you both are very, very happy with each other. Have a great day, and see you the next time as a married man. Regards. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, I am getting married tomorrow, which is why I'm going to end this now. It was a pleasure. I will see you guys. I'm going to cross my fingers. It should be on Wednesday. I will tell you all about it. I don't know if I'm filming anything. I'm sure some people will take some pictures. We will. I'll probably post them on the show. But I am going to get out of here. I'm going to take the rest of the day off. My suit is sitting right across me in my office right there. I have my shoes over here to my left on my shelf. And it's going to be great. Oh, don't forget the... big news this week, Friday. I don't even have the piece to put up here, but Friday, please mark your calendars. WTIC on Friday. First, we are going to be talking to Greg Dillon on Friday, and I think I'm going to move him to the afternoon. Thank you, Gene. I'm going to move to the afternoon. Greg Dillon, who wrote this book, The Thin Blue Lie, is going to be on the show. I think I'm going to have him on in the afternoon, but let me tell you why I'm going to have him on the afternoon so you understand. I am going to be on Will Marati's show on Friday between 9 and 11. That is Eastern time. So, of course, that'll be 6 a.m. on the West Coast. And then at 3 p.m. on the East Coast, noon on the West, I will be on Todd Feinberg's from 3 to 6 or noon to 3 your time. So, 2 shows on Friday. I'll be there, and we'll be talking to Greg Dillon, who I'm very, very proud to have met. This is an interesting book. Like I told you, Frank Serpico is in this book. There's a story about him and his involvement in this case of the Thin Blue Lie in Connecticut with the FBI. So we'll talk to him then. So, again, I'm getting married. I know you know that, and thank you all for the beautiful well wishes. Some of you even went so far as to buy me a couple of things in my registry. I really appreciate that. But I have to be honest. All of that stuff is for Rosie. I didn't pick one thing on that registry. There was nothing in there for me. I would have picked something a lot different, but all of that stuff is for her. But I appreciate this. Can you Facebook your shows on WTIC like it? Not particularly, but I'll find a way to do it. What I'll do is I'll post the link on my Facebook page so that you can click to it. Yeah, so for those of you who went to the registry and bought things, I know Carl's mom, thank her so much for buying stuff on the registry. Thank you for indulging Roseanne on her wedding day. She feels like a princess. She's very happy that you're doing that. But nonetheless, for those of you who are going to be there tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. Anyway, you know what that is, folks. It's time for me to get up out of here. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you. We miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow, and we hope to see you back here on Wednesday. I'm coming to marry you, honey. I'm coming to marry you. And you know that means that Nadia, my wife, you are bound by law to do the freaky stuff. Just to let you know. Yeah! Legally bound to do the freaky stuff. Holla, holla, pop your collar.